Hey, welcome back to the Biz Kids Hub. Today we are going to talk about setting up your booth, and I have a guest with us, Kaci Richardson of Kaci Cakes and Bakes. She has done this multiple times, and she is going to help us kind of figure out the process that's needed to kind of think about, okay, how am I going to display? So when we set up for an event, if it's a BizKids Market or BizKids Expo, um, some events are inside, some are outside. So you have to determine if you're going to need a tent, what kind of tables you need, um, power. A lot of people don't think about, oh, I need some power to generate for my credit card processing. There's a lot of little details that we think about. Kaci, when you started, what was your first thing you would think about for your setup?
The first thing that I would think about automatically is what I'm selling and how it pairs with my displays. So for my very first expo that I did, I was selling little tiny clay charms as like keychains or jewelry and stuff like that. And so for my displays, I would have like super colorful, like dynamic display things so that like it could pop out of the table or like it would prop up and like it's not everything's just like flat on the table, because the things are so small. So it would be more important to like be able to see them and like interact with them so that it stands out from other people. Another thing at my second business expo, I switched to bakery items, so like cakes and cupcakes and all that. And so for that, I had like less colors so that the colors in the desserts would pop out of the table. Display is also important for that. A lot of like 3D stuff so that it's not just sitting flat. It was really important to like match like the colors and the items together so that it'll catch your eye and stand out from other people in the
Did you
event.
have a tablecloth? Did generally on your table?
Yeah, definitely a
Yeah,
tablecloth so that it's not just like plastic and metal.
yeah, and I think that's a good one to remember is when you're setting up, you want your display to look very nice. So any kind of tablecloth, or like you said, you match your colors, make sure it's matching your product really well so you stand out. What did you do for signage?
For signage, honestly, for the first one, I don't remember, so we're gonna skip that one. I when I started doing the bakery items, I had a big sign behind my table with a QR code on it that you could scan and go to the website, and my logo was big on there, and all my social medias was on there. That was a good option. It wasn't the best because with the QR code you couldn't like scan it because I'm standing there. And so for the next one, I switched it to have I had business cards on the table with the same QR codes, and then I had the sign like in front of my table as well, so that it would be easier to access.
Did you design your own logo?
No, I paid somebody to do that. I'm not a
Nice.
graphic design expert, but you could pay $20 to have somebody on Fiverr design it, and it's gonna be
Nice.
a lot better than what you're gonna do, unless you're a graphic design expert. But I was not. So
Well, there's a lot of programs out there on the internet nowadays that you can easily make a logo. So if you even use Canva as the free version of it, there's tons of logos that you can adjust. So if you're looking for a way to do a logo really cheap, Canva is a good way to go.
yeah.
But yeah, some people create crazy stuff. The frog you see behind me over this way, or actually over this way, was actually created by a young lady that was a designer artist and when she was a kid, and she drew the frog for me. And I've used that logo for multiple businesses, and now it's our BizKids logo. And now she is doing um, artwork for SpongeBob SquarePants with Nickelodeon. So she does the
Wow,
background artwork. So yeah, that's a little
that's a nice
celebrity
story.
behind
Yeah,
us.
that's sick.
So other display things that you thought of, did you take credit cards when you set up for
Yeah,
your first?
maybe not for the very first one. That was way back in like 2016 or 17. Technology wasn't a thing for me back then. I was too young. But
Yeah.
nowadays, kids on their iPads, they know all this stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
it was what I got. I got the Square reader that you just plug into your phone and then you can swipe cards with that. It's super easy. I don't think it's that expensive, but a lot of people don't carry cash these days. So card is
and
something
one
else.
one thing we try to tell parents is don't set up a business account with any of those because they do take crazy amounts of fees. If you're just trying this out for the first time, just do a personal account. You can swap the money and Cash App or Zelle or anything like that, and they don't charge the fees. But once you say you're a business, they're gonna get you, and they're gonna charge you for everything.
And those
Um,
money like exchange apps are good too, like Venmo, Cash App, stuff like that.
awesome. Did you when you were doing your setup, did you ever need power?
Yes. The first time that I used like the power for it, it wasn't for my actual product, but I had a monitor set up on my table that would show different like it would go through like a slides of pictures with like some of my other products and like it'd have screenshots from my website or like pictures of me doing other things and baking just so that people could learn more about the business other than just the product itself that I had there. And another time that I used power, I had like lights on my table to set up. So even if it's not just for the product, it could be cool to use like other displays and stuff with that. So
And good thing to think about parents is sometimes at each event it's going to be different. There might be only a power strip on one wall of the building that they were in, and so you have to try to get your power to that. And so having extra extension cords or anything like that, always having a battery backup of it where you could plug things into. There's a lot of with all the new technology stuff that there's out there. There are little battery packs that you can take around to do lights and computers and stuff without having to be plugged into something. And when we do outdoor events, that's a struggle sometimes when people show up thinking that they're going to have power and it's none. It kind of can ruin your day really quick. So,
yeah.
um, what else? Is there anything else I'm missing that you can think of what you did for your setup design? I think you
Um
talked about colors and options. That's a great idea.
yeah. Also something that I thought about was like the timing of everything. Like for the second or the third expo that I did, it was around Christmas time. And so what I did for that one was I built a gingerbread house and I had fake snow on the table and like lights and stuff like that, just so that like it's like more relatable to everyone who comes through. They see it, they're like, "Oh my gosh, Christmas, yay!" And so that would like draw them to the table. Something else was for the most recent one that I did, the last one. It was in a mall, in like the walkway of a mall. And so how I did my setup is I made it more of like a cafe style. So I had a little table with some chairs, and my product was displayed on like this giant like baking shelf where like all the products were displayed. And so it was more of like an environment rather than just like a table with a booth set up, you know? And so that one was super important because novelty is also like a crucial aspect of entrepreneurship. You can't sell product that everyone else is also selling, you know? And even if like people make cupcakes. Cupcakes are not novel. But differentiating yourself like in other ways, like your displays or your marketing, stuff like that's super important.
And I think that's a good point because, we do all get into this habit of, oh, this is how everybody else is doing it. So that's the way I'm going to do it. But because you did it different and you didn't have a table set up, people are feeling welcome to walk into your booth area instead of just past your table. So that kudos on that because I don't think I've seen many other kids do that. The other thing I do like to see is kids standing outside of their table instead of behind their table because it's a more interactive with the client or
Yeah.
customer as they walk up,
Yeah. It
more
feels less
welcoming.
like just a transaction.
Yeah. And the worst thing you can do is stand behind or sit behind your table and have your phone in front of your face because now your customers think you're not interested at all. You're more interested in being on your phone. And so we encourage the kids to interact with the customers as they go by.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot more sales. So at your last event, do you remember how much you made? Like, do you remember dollar wise?
Um,
That's
I'm not I'm not sure. That was like it feels like forever ago. I know it was like maybe not even a year ago. I think it was like a couple hundred, like 200. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was a really like good opportunity to make connections and like pass out cards and stuff. So,
nice. And the average kid usually sells about $250 of product at the events. We've had kids that have hit over $1,000 in a day of product. So there's always an opportunity there to make some good money. Well, we appreciate you, Kaci, to tell us about how to set up, and we're glad that you've been part of the Biz Kids, and you guys will be hearing more about from other kids and what they did and how they set up their booths to give you some more great ideas. Thanks for being here at the Biz Kids Hub today.